All right, check. Hello, everybody. Mr. Wada here. I've got some of our formulas from chapter 11 on the screen. Hopefully, we got a decent sized class today. Uh, Follow along with your foldable notes. Have those ready. And yeah, let me know today how I can help you prepare for your test tomorrow. So add any specific questions to the chat channel regarding problems from this whole chapter. Anything from our packets or perhaps the review packet that you're doing now. Let me know. If you have questions about critical indicators or things like that as well, I can answer those. If I've got my kids distracted in the other room, I allowed them just to start playing games. Hopefully that relatively looks like this is working. I apologize for the lag, but hopefully at least the audio is coming. Looks like I'm dropping about 72% of my frames. Hey, Ben Lane. Oh, sorry for shout out on the internet. Famous fire explorer, firefighter. There he is. Well, I'll summarize while you guys are about questions. So most of our formulas were related to volume, and the volume formulas were measured in 3 dimensions. Oh, other room. No quiet toys, okay? That. Go get a book, bud. So the volume formulas measured the number of square cubic units, rather, that fit inside a solid. For things like cylinders or prisms, the formula was simple. It was just area of the base multiplied by the height. Area of the base, if it was a circle, would be the pi r squared formula. And then the height of a prism or a cylinder, the height which is perpendicular to that base. And so even if you have what's called an oblique cylinder, the height is perpendicular to the bases. Kind of like a slant height, I guess. Yeah, I think my kids are having fun. Right now they're playing Battle Block Theater, Xbox 360 game, backwards compatible on the Xbox One. One of them's playing a Kirby game. Yes. None of that information will be on the test tomorrow, so you could ask more mathy questions if you guys would like. The only difference for pyramids compared to cylinders or prisms is this 1/3. It is 1/3 the area of the base multiplied by the height. And you'll notice that the pyramid and cone have pretty much exactly the same formula. Writing under. There we are. No. And so this works in all cases. If the base is a square, then you would write area of a square formula, side squared. If the base is a circle, then you would do pi r squared, pi by the height, divide by. Regarding these formulas, you also could think about it as the area of the base multiplied by the height, and then just divide by 3 at the end. It just literally means to divide by 3. You could imagine that in the case of cone, pi r squared h divided by 3. Do you guys have any math questions? My last group had a whole bunch more specific problems they were asking. Surface area, we ended up having a slant height. So notice this is not perpendicular, represented with kind of a cursive L. And the nice thing about this is if I know the slant height or the regular height and the radius of the base, I end up with a right triangle. So if I know 2 of these dimensions, I can find the third using Pythagorean. Let's see, what order? Oh, good question. Sounds like a PAS order. Pi r cubed with a number. So yeah, so let's look at a sphere. Make up a quick problem here. So let's say I've got a sphere, and let's say I happen to know the radius of that sphere. Hey, quiet kids. So the volume formula, we're just going to follow the order of operations, PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So 4/3 times pi times r cubed. I'm going to do the r cubed first. So the first thing, order of operations style, that I would do is the 9 cubed. That does not mean 9 times 3. That means 9 times 9 times 9. Griffin, quiet, please. So to do 9 cubed, I would hit 9 on the calculator, this little button called a caret. I think it looks like a mountain. Then to the third, I'm not a... And so 9 to the third. I've got my little calculator just like you guys have in the classroom. I'm playing the home version of the game. And so let's see. So I would end up with volume pi times 729. Now, the multiplying by 4/3 thing, I could do 729 times 4 and then take that answer and divide by 3. I could do 729 divided by 3, which it actually is in this case, by 3, and then multiply by 4. I could do 4 divided by 3, take the 1.3 repeating, and multiply by 7. So for multiplication and division, order of operations, much more flexible there. So yeah, let's just do 729. I'm going to hit times 4. I get 2916 divided by pi. Take that, divide by pi. Hit divide by 3 in my calculator. So I have 972 pi. And so now I can get an approximation by just multiplying that by pi. I have 30536. And if this was in miles, this would... That's not on your guys' screen. All. Yeah. So there's a made-up problem. But as far as the order of operations goes, right, show all your work on the test. I can give you partial credit. Make sure you know how to plug these things into a calculator. It'd be sad if you got it wrong just because you plugged it in wrong. And yeah, you've got flexibility. So multiplying by a fraction, you just multiply your number by the numerator, then divide by the denominator. You guys are kind of a... I hope that answers the firefighter's question there. Surface area, that's a... Make sure you know the difference between cube and a square. You're hitting the right button in those cases. Maybe you guys have started working on your review packet. Problem if... Here we go. So here's the review packet. Let's see. 17 in the review packet. I'll jump back in time for that number 17 request there. Let me do one of these. So these are all pyramids. So the volume of any pyramid is 1/3 the area of the base multiplied by the height. No, leave that, buddy. Gotta go find him then. Kid took his socks off, so That won't be on the test tomorrow. So let's see. So any of these pyramids, even like these weird ones where the vertex, the peak of the pyramid is not over the center of the base, the formula is the same because all of these happen to have a height that is perpendicular to the base. Doesn't matter. Here, tell you what, I'll do this middle one. If you do want to visit the other video, I think the audio was a little. Hey, Rook, quiet. But I do have other problems that I did in the other live stream. So let's work with this. So here's a triangle, like so, and it's a right triangle. So to find that base, I'm going to do half the height times the sum of the base, or sorry, the trapezoid. Half the base times the height. I'm going to do the 8 first. Griffin, quiet. All right, just a second. I think the youngest is getting into the dishwasher. Just a minute. All right. I just had to lock him down in the in a high chair. Crazy stuff, right? Okay. There we are. So that's the area of this base. The height for this problem is 20. And fortunately, all of these are in the same units. I'm not going to trick you by giving you a problem with it. And the volume of the entire pyramid is going to be 1/3 the area of the base multiplied by the height. So, multiply this out. Plus 4. Well, let's see. Let's deal with the fractions. Multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Rook, quiet, please. 8 times 15 is going to be 80 plus 40, 120. Multiplied by another 20. So 1/6 times. Yeah, as far as if the dimensions were different, you would have to convert one to the other. But we won't do that right now. 120 times 20 is or 00. I think I can divide that by. So that's 400. And since these are all in yards, this is going to be as volume. Let me see what other questions are in chat. Let's see. How do you do base times height when the dimensions of the base are different? I mean, how do you find the base? That well, see, in this case, the area of the base would have just equaled 9 times 9, which in this case, it's a rectangle. The area of the base would have been 10 times 880. This would have been meters squared. That would have been feet squared. And then once you multiply by the height, it would have cubic units. Griffin, quiet. Quiet. Griffin, do you hear me? Thank you. All right. So yeah, the capital B in this formula changes depending on the shape of the base. What you end up. Let's see. I had a question on number 17. Ooh. Identify the solid after rotating. This one ends up being a composite solid. So imagine rotating it around this given axis. And so if I rotate this, this part would become like a, and this would become like a hemisphere. All that. So this solid would kind of be a hemisphere plus a cone. Want to think about it like that? And they didn't ask us for it. Let's see. Identify and describe the solid. Well, it's not a polyhedron because it's got curved surfaces. And it would essentially be a cone plus hemisphere. And if you were to find the volume of that object, I would actually recommend, because there will be 2 questions, I believe, on the test, and you have to find composite solids. Actually draw this little equation out. In which you draw that out like so. So I would actually find the volumes of each. So actually, yeah, I'll write that out in general. So in this case, the volume of the cone would be 1/3 the area of its base. Its base is a circle. The radius of 8. Griffin, Rook, quiet. Thank you. So that's pi times, you guys are hearing me? 8 times pi r squared, which is pi times 8. And then I'd multiply that by the height. 6. So it's like a sideways. And then for the volume of a hemisphere, well, we know the volume of a sphere formula is 4/3 pi r cubed. A hemisphere is going to be the top half of that, right? So, and I just said the word half. So literally, I'm just going to take this formula and half it, is what I would end up doing. So this formula would be 1/2 times 4/3 times pi times, and it actually also has a radius of 8. And so I would then just chip away at simplifying these things and then adding them together, which this problem did not ask you to do, but that is how you would. All right, see you later, firefighter. Sorry your Chromebook is dying. Other questions coming in. I might pick one. I did have someone ask about this question, 23, which slipped through my radar. Was going to either give you another hint or remove the problem. So this figure is a fallen over prism, if you want to think about it that way. And it has a pentagonal base. 2 pentagonal bases. And they are, well, actually, they're only labeled as equilateral, but I'm pretty sure they're regular because calculate the volume, other area of it otherwise. Griffin, Rook, quiet. So 2, 2, 2. And we actually don't know how to calculate that area. That was a DLC content for the course you ended up. I apologize. I still have a video on how to calculate the area of polygons. I think regular polygons. I think it's 11.3. So it's the part of this chapter we skipped. But tell you what, this is the cheat. Regular polygon area calculator. Going online. All right, my kid. So I would pick what kind of polygon it is. In this case, it's a pentagon. I would tell us what the side length is. Was 2, and I would just say calculate. In this case, I think it was cards or something. And so 6.88 is the area of a pentagon that side. And so area of the base. Hello. That would be yards squared. So for the volume of this is not a pyramid. If it was a pyramid, I would have the 1/3 thing. So since it's not a pyramid, I'm just going to do plain old base, area of the base multiplied by the height. For the volume, a little bit like this. So let's see, 0.88 pi by 4. 27.52 yards cubed. Guys, you're not changing games right now. Trying to minimize fighting amongst. So there's a problem you wouldn't have been able to do if it was on the test, which I don't believe I have any. I would have told you what the area of the base. You guys don't. Remember, make sure you ask me also about like maybe any critical indicator questions you've got that you're making progress on that. I'll be right back. Let's see, this mic picks up the screen a bit more. All right, and you guys are not asking questions. Maybe I just did such a good job explaining everything. Let's see. You guys don't have any other questions? I'm gonna problem, yes. Ooh, let's do one of these. Posit one. So this one might have been in one of this is from 11.7 and the homework packet, like that. So in this case, this volume would have been, guys, weak prism plus cone, and I would find the volume of each atom together. In this case, it is subtracted. So this volume, the volume of the cube, plus, or no, minus a cone subtracted from. And there is a problem like this on the test or on the retest. So there we go. So those are that's how I'm going to calculate that volume. So for the volume of a cube, it's not that bad. We're going to find the area of the base, 5.1 times 5.1 by the height. You might also just know that formula as 5.1 cubed side of a. cubed will give you the volume. To calculate the cone, well, it's a cone, so it's going to be 1/3 the area of its base multiplied by its height. Base is a circle, so I'm going to need to know this radius. This is what I like about these problems. It didn't label radius. However, I do see that this goes completely from edge to edge of the base of the cube. And so the diameter of that circle, Griffin, quiet, is 5.1, is the width across, the diameter, right? And the radius would be half of that, so that's 2.55, 55, I think. And so there's my radius, 5. So the area of this base circle is pi r squared. So pi times 2.55 squared. And then I'd still have to multiply by the height of this. The height of this, you'll notice, actually goes all the way to the base of that, the top of it. So that height is going to match the height of the cube, 5. And so let's do some calculation. 5.1 cubed. You guys, if you're bored of this problem, feel free to keep working on prep that you're working. 132.65 is the volume of the cube, minus 1/3. 2.55 squared is 6.5025. Take that, multiply by 5.1. Get 33.6. I've still got that pi in there. So to deal with this 1/3, I could take 33.16, multiply by 1, and then divide by 3. I could just take this and divide by 3. It's going to do the same thing. So I divide by 3, I get 11.05 pies. And then as an approximation, I just take that, multiply by pi. Everett, Griffin, quiet. All right. Trying to keep my kids cool. Wife alive. All right. This is technically. So let's see. So final answer, 132.65 minus getting 97.2. These were all in meters. This is, and so that is the volume of the object that was cubed minus this little cylindrical side, or conical. I can subtract a cylinder, I suppose. Yeah, so that's kind of how you do. So the test is tomorrow. I've already emailed some of you if you have alternate testing locations. I've got the test all printed and set up. If you don't do well enough on this test, you can still do a retake. I have retakes printed up. In order to access the retake, you still need to homework quests for this chapter. So that's 11.4 all the way through the review packet that we also have been. If you still don't do well, I'll do that question 18 in a second as well. If you still don't do well, I do have Brooke, quiet. Whisper voices, please. Griffin and Everett. Griffin, whisper voices, please. If you still don't do well enough on the retake, I do have a critical indicator packet that question. Ooh, all right. I'm not gonna even invert colors for this. So this is these questions are, if I have a geometric solid and I do a Fruit Ninja slice through it, what would that shape become? What is the cross section, is what we call that. And so in this figure, cross section, well, it's a four-sided figure. slice. It might be hard to see on your black and white paper. And it looks like I did a slice parallel to the base plane of this pentagonal prism, and it looks like it's a rectangle. Pretty sure I could prove that. Everett, no whistling. Right, so there will be, I think there's 1 or 2 questions about cross sections on the test tomorrow. Other question. Let me do 28. These ones, I should do at least one of these. I think in the other one I did a different problem that was similar to this, which kind of have to use the formula backwards. This will be the last problem I do probably. I recognize it's a pyramid. They told me pyramid. They told me the base of the pyramid square. I can that. I happen to know the volume of this square pyramid, and that it's measured in cubic inches. And I happen to know that the volume of a pyramid is 1/3 the base times the height. The base times the height. I am trying to find the height, so I'm going to plug in what I know and solve for what I don't. I happen to know that this base has a side length of 16. So I'm going to plug in 16 times 16 here. 16 squared. Rook and Griffin, last time. Quiet, please. I know the volume is 1024. 1/3 is still here. And I don't know the h. So this is when you could have passed this off to your past algebra self, and they'd be like, oh, I know how to solve this. We'll simplify a little bit first. So 1024 equals 1/3. Is 250. Multiplied by 8. So to get rid of the 1/3, the opposite of multiplying by 1/3 is divides by 3. Right, this is going to cancel out with that. So 3 times 1024, 72. That's equal to h's. And to get rid of that multiplying by 256, I'm just going to add both sides. All right, so the most complicated these formulas get is it's using the same formula, which I could still give you partial credit, writing down which formula to use. But it's just a matter of using it backwards. So I end up getting h equals 12. And since this was in cubic inches, the height is going to be also in. All right, so this is 1 foot tall. Well, anyways, I'll let you guys get back to it. If you still owe me retakes, the sub can still set you up with a retake. You've just got to prove to them that you did all the homework in those packets. You only got to do the problems you lost points on. Those critical indicators. If you are doing some Khan Academy stuff, email me when you've done your Khan Academy stuff. Signed in, obviously, full account. So that way I will be able to see what you did and how well you did on it and determine if you're proficient. If you're doing IXL, Griffin, that is enough. If you're doing IXL, after you've attempted your 10 proof problems, take a screenshot for all 3 of those IXL assignments. So that's way you can still show you are proficient, pass the class. The critical indicator assignments that I gave you, the paper ones, you can practice, get ready for those critical indicators. Not all of them are demonstrated by doing it on paper. It doesn't affect your percentage grade, but it will determine whether or not you're proficient. All right, so it's email me if you guys have further questions. The other live stream also has me, Quiet and Chase. And yeah, hopefully you're ready for the test tomorrow. You're allowed to use your formula sheets from the foldable notes. Allowed to use the chapter summary, which is still over on the side counter. Grabbed it all. And that chapter summary includes the 3 sections from chapter 11 we didn't do, so you can ignore all the formulas, your areas of sectors and arc length. Yeah, thanks for hanging out there, Master Chief. You guys have a great day. Talk to you later. Email me if